welcome to the In a Nutshell podcast with myself, Andrew Davis, and my co-host, Chris Branch. The 10-minute daily podcast where we strip out all the techie talk around generative AI and focus on the information that the everyday person, marketer, and content creator wants to hear. Now, we've only got 10 minutes, so we can only focus on one subject. And today we're going to focus on a subject that it caught my eye, or caught both of our eyes recently, because it could potentially be the future of not just education, but leadership.
Mm-hmm.
And that is in a school in somewhere in the UK, they have put an AI robot as a headmaster or to assist the headmaster. And someone sent me this and I just laughed. And then I thought, actually, could this work? So, Chris, before I kind of get into explain a bit more about the article, just off the headline that I've just said to you, what's your initial thoughts of this?
It's shocking, isn't it? Because I had the same reaction. I came from an educational background. I used to be a lecturer, and obviously I realized how bad the syllabus was in terms of not keeping up with things going on in society.
Very true.
And yet, when there's game-changing technology that can help be a personal assistant to any job role, head teacher, business person, marketer, CEO, it doesn't really matter. It's just an extension of you. It makes a lot of sense, like for a head teacher to be guided by an AI that's looking over all of his departments or her departments, all of the stats of the teachers and the well-being and the feedback, and you'd have a personal assistant to do that. So to have an AI and a personal assistant doing that, it's just more hands, it seems natural.
I think it does. And I'll just quickly read something that from the article. So it said, Cotsmore School in West Sussex appointed an AI robot named Abigail Bailey, so they even named it, as the new principal head teacher, a pioneering move in the UK. The AI designed to assist the human headmaster, Tom Rogerson, is expected to provide support on various school matters from staff assistance to student support, especially for those with ADHD and policy drafting. So when you break it down like that, you kind of look at it and think, okay, well, the robot will take out a lot of the emotion when it comes to making decisions, which was a good and a bad thing there. But you can see it doing a lot of the practical things that either other people would do, but it's not their job usually. It's kind of, again, I've worked in education before. A lot of extra stuff is kind of added to the teachers, or it just gets kind of forgotten about until Ofsted report or whatever it may be that needs to come in. So it's kind of doing a lot of from what I'm just seeing here, doing a lot of the dirty work or the things that might be delegated or kind of swept under the rug. So I think from that point of view, it does make sense, but it'll be interested to hear what the parents have to say, especially because it's a private school as well, where I believe it's a substantial amount of money per year that the students are paying. Well, not students, their parents, I'm assuming.
If the parents are educated about what it's doing to benefit their kids, then they might be all for it. It's if they read just general headlines from mainstream media, they may be very wary and cautious of it, obviously, because the mainstream media is going to be very negative about this as a subject area. They get a lot of clickbait traffic by saying, AI will do this and that and making general claims. But just from the information you read off that article, the thing that stood out to me is not only will it be the dog's body admin, but it's special needs and ADHD and specialist subjects. So that's really something passionate to me, because my partner's a special needs teacher, and lots of teachers don't have that extra training to be able to deal with autism or ADHD or any of these other things. So to have some assistant, let's say, especially if they've anthropomorphized it and called it a woman's name, let's say it's an assistant that's able to help with those edge cases, then that's gonna benefit everyone. It's not gonna have any downside effects as far as I see it. Like having something that's especially tuned to know what autism and ADHD and things, and that's big. If you've got no one in house in your school that can do that already, that's like getting an extra staff member.
Definitely. Again, my concern would be the emotion that's taken out of it,
Yeah.
unless it can kind of somehow be programmed with some emotional element. Because
Mm.
again, you're dealing with humans, and you can't just
Mhm.
deal, especially with young people, based on just pure logic. You know, there needs to be, you can say the right thing, but it's
Mm.
how you say it that will make somebody consume
And
it.
the translation of that, because the
Mm,
physical space is different to the AI space. Like, I
yeah,
imagine that a TA, like a teaching assistant, would be looking at ChatGPT, for example,
yeah,
and then asking what would be a good lesson plan for someone with ADHD, compared to someone without it. So, yeah, like they then have to take what the suggestion of the AI is and actually enact it in the human world, which, again, if they're not trained properly on the fact that these AIs can occasionally hallucinate, they do need to check the sources. They do need to do this other stuff. That's the only potential downsides I can see in the short term,
yeah.
is that TAs, teaching assistants, aren't as, up to a level as full qualified teachers. So if they're the ones that are going to actually be using this technology, they need to go through specific training on how it works and how to best use it and stuff like that. It is difficult.
Yeah, but also what's happening is besides the AI principal, the
Mm.
school has also appointed another robot called Jamie Rayner as the head of AI to aid in an AI strategy and planning.
Brilliant.
Additionally, individual AI robots were provided to students to help understand their learning styles.
Now
These,
that is where I'm really interested.
yeah,
Personalized tutorage for each student. That's never been before possible in human history.
that's
So
really
that's
interesting.
and,
So
and the fact that the school's embracing it is even better, because that's the elephant in the room, is that people think that schools may not necessarily be viable when AI can do the role of what a school can do. But if they work with it and then have the social activities and the in-person human-based experiences that we do, then it's the best of both worlds.
yeah, I think this school is really interesting. I think they're really kind of a forward-thinking school. Not saying that it's going to work, but just
Right.
saying that this is very forward-thinking. You know, it
Mm.
says these steps are part of an initiative to embed new technology into the curriculum and teach students to
Mhm.
collaborate with AI, which Rogerson describes as a world-changing technology. I think it's a good gamble to take. You know,
Mhm.
I think this because the reality is, one of the things that how I got into social media training is that in 2009, I kind of before I started training adults, I started training like kids. I went in and
Mhm.
I created the first social media course that was connected to GCSE English, and we got kids that were on inner city London. We got the who were on D's. We got them C's, B's, and A's, and that was in 2009. And
Mm.
then it was like this stuff might be a bit too early. So
Mm.
the first one done really well, but I found it hard to get traction because it was one, it was too early, but secondly,
Mm.
the teachers didn't want um, the kids to know more about social media than they
Mm.
did, and that was one of the things that was a problem.
Mhm.
I can't see how, what, 15 years later, that would change,
Mhm.
because when it comes to this, the teachers need to be on board. Because again, if
Yep.
I was a teacher, I didn't know about AI technology, I'll be thinking, hold on, so you've got
Mhm.
these AIs that are going in teaching the kids or finding out their style, they can
Mhm.
write the lesson plans, the kids might even listen to them.
Mhm.
What's my job? You know, like, am I being replaced? Is that the future? Is AI's
Mhm.
robots going to be in front of the class teaching, or is it just going to be that one to one? Even though I don't see that will happen, I think actually it might help assist the teachers in a great way.
Yep.
Um,
I think it's going to be a teacher's best friend eventually.
I
The
hope
thing
so.
that I find right now is the big issue is the grading. We can't take exams the same typical way we did. It's not about memory, it's about actually knowing and learning a skill and then being able to physically produce the fact that you can do that. Like, we might see stuff like verbal exams come back or something a bit old school, because coursework and exams and stuff like this, when it's to pass grades and it's all to get merit, it doesn't make sense in this
Yeah.
context when AI can write all of that for you or
Mm.
with you. It doesn't mean you've learned it in any way. But yeah, in a nutshell, for this one, is coming for education, and it's great to see these schools embracing it early. They will have some rough things in the beginning, but
Yeah.
the fact that they're on that curve means they'll be ahead of the rest.
Yeah. So yeah, watch this space. We'll keep an eye on this one.
Yep.